Wrestling Geeks Alliance. Geek Vibes Nation.
Are you a hopeless romantic? Listen to this new episode of Wrestling Geeks Alliance. Hey, how you guys doing out there? Not really needing to be a hopeless romantic, but I thought I'd throw that in there. I was going to go over a bunch of things that Wrestling Geeks Alliance can do for you, but I can't talk that fast like they do in the commercials. So, how are you guys doing out there? We got another episode for you. It's going to be fun. We're going to be reviewing Money in the Bank. We're going to be reviewing Raw, and also, of course, the Wednesday Night Wars. And with me, as always, is my wonderful partner, Christopher Brother Ray Patton. How you doing, sir?
Doing good, man. Finished up some work today and cracked open a beer and getting ready to talk about some wrestling. We had some good shows last night and some okay stuff on Monday. So very excited. So it's been a pretty solid week for me. How's your week going, Dane?
I can't complain. It's been very, very slow at the job. But other than that, just trying to stay with it and just be safe and, not decide to destroy anyone mentally. Like if I could just blink them out of existence by reading stuff on Facebook. But yeah, if I could just not do that, that would be wonderful. But, I don't have self-control on that at all. So,
The listeners got a little bit of a surprise whenever they listen to this episode because we have a new theme song. How you feeling about that?
I'm a big fan of it, man. I'm a big fan of the Rainmaker. I'm a massive fan, and I like us changing things up. Having a different style music. And I swear, if anyone out there doesn't know that theme music, branch your wings. Go and fly to places that you don't know about and learn things. But yeah, definitely digging the Okada theme.
Nice. Alrighty. Well, I mean, it's definitely, since neither of us are huge fans of the NWO theme, I think it's a huge step in the right direction.
It definitely is, man. And it's a fun one. And maybe if you guys are nice to Christopher, they'll think of some other ones, and we can add a couple to the list, so no one will know, Chris, what we're gonna do. What we're gonna do, brother,
Yeah, we're gonna have some surprises in the future, for sure.
For sure. Well, what the heck was I gonna say? Oh, I wanted to wish a happy birthday. I believe it was yesterday, but just because he's still on this earth, Danny Hodge, 88 years old. An amazing boxer, I hate saying actual wrestler, but collegiate wrestler, pro wrestler, and just overall badass. He was a miniature Brock Lesnar before Brock Lesnar was around. So, I heard JR talking about it on the AEW after show with him, Taz, and Excalibur, which if you guys aren't listening to those, they're hilarious. They're basically JR and Taz just taking shots at each other the whole entire time. It's pretty fucking funny. But happy birthday, Mr. Hodge, and appreciate it. If you guys never have seen anything, just go look up a video of this man's giant hands from a couple years ago crushing apples like it's nothing. Back in the day, he used to he was so strong he could bend pliers like it was nothing. Like it's insane. And this guy was legit boxer, legit wrestler, legit badass back in the day. So yeah.
So
you anything to say about Danny Hodge?
Yeah, obviously a badass, and happy birthday to him. Did you ever see the episode of Ride Along where they had Mark Henry in the car and he did the apple gimmick? He crushed the apple with one hand with Chris Jericho.
No.
It's pretty great. It's an older episode, but it's pretty good. But I wanted to give a happy birthday too. It is Matt Cardona, aka the Long Island Ice Z himself, Zack Ryder's birthday today. So happy birthday to Zack Ryder.
Yeah, man. Happy birthday, Zach, or Matt, or whatever we're supposed to call you now. And I know that we're going to see you be doing some really cool things in the future. I think most fans know that. Um, yeah. So I guess let's talk about this crazy fucking pay-per-view. Chris, God damn it. So I think.
Yeah, that shit happened over the weekend.
So I think we've explained this before, and I'm not going to be as dramatic as some people about stuff, but me and Chris, we usually text each other back and forth, and sometimes we don't agree, sometimes we do agree. And this one, I think that we were both like just exhausted by the end of this fucking thing. Um, and I'm not going to say that I hate every aspect of Money in the Bank, the whole thing, because some of it was fun and funny, and some of it was just stupid. But I will say there's definitely, you can tell that, segments that were worked on by Triple H and other people from previous stuff, and then this done by Bruce Pritchard and Vince McMahon. This is kind of meant for, I think this would have worked in the early 90s pretty fucking well. Yeah. Oh, Lord. I don't even know what to say. Overall thoughts on Money in the Bank, Chris?
When you say you didn't want to say bad things about the entire pay-per-view, did you only mean the kickoff show match with Jeff Hardy and Cesaro?
There's aspects of other things, I guess you could say, but yeah, that was one of the only highlights. God damn it. Why was that on the pre-show?
Well, maybe because Jeff Hardy looked at the rest of the lineup, and what they were planning on doing was like, fuck, let's just get this shit out of the way. Put us on the pre-show. Go back to
Maybe he was mad that he couldn't jump off the roof. They wouldn't let him. Like, all right, man, you guys aren't going to let me jump off the fucking roof or put a dirtbag section or some shit? Well, fine. I'll fight Cesaro on the pre-show. And that's exactly.
We're going to get to some roof action later on.
Some murder. They have a murder, or at least attempted murder, 3 fucking times on their goddamn roster. I will say one thing about this pay-per-view that I appreciate is the fact that it was only like 2.5 hours long. That was nice. That's not necessarily a good thing. God damn it.
That's like when you go to see a shitty movie and then the only thing that you can say about it is like, well, at least it wasn't that long. Like,
well, you brought it up. The kickoff show match, Jeff Hardy going against Cesaro. Premium, solid match. I mean, this is Jeff Hardy, who's agile as hell, and Cesaro, who is a technician. So, of course, they're going to have, even in a smaller match, a pretty damn good match. Kind of telling. And, maybe this would be a good way to kind of put him back with fucking Sheamus. And Sheamus is about to have a feud with Jeff Hardy, it seems. But they didn't go down that route. I don't know what the hell Cesaro's going to do anymore. And I kind of liked at least the package of the bar. But, yeah, that was the pre-show match. And Jeff won with the Swanton Bomb. Jeff still looks pretty goddamn young, even though his body, I mean, oh, Lord, it's got to be up there for, and right now, Chris, in his career, for, most damage. And I just feel like he's not going to slow down. He might slow down, but he's still going to do crazy shit.
Yeah, he's definitely the modern-day Evel Knievel as far as the shit he's done over the years. I thought this was a very fun match. Like, as far as a kickoff show match, I mean, they didn't get I think it was only like 7 or 8 minutes long, but it was a lot of fun. Jeff got the win. That's a send the fans home happy kind of moment. Also, we have no idea what they're doing with Jeff because we don't know technically when his contract ends and how much time they've tacked on to it. So it'll be interesting to see if they are going to try to do a long-term feud with him and Sheamus, or if that next match between him and Sheamus is just Sheamus killing him. So I guess that's where things are going to play out. I mean, for all we know, they could be talking about giving him a push or, trying to renegotiate a contract. It just seems a little far-fetched, knowing everything that happened with Matt before Matt, at least with Matt on his way out, and even a little bit before that where they were trying to force him to be a road agent. So interesting, good kickoff show match, probably my favorite match of the show. If I'm being completely honest. I mean, McIntyre and Seth Rollins I thought was pretty good, but there was definitely things that I wasn't a huge fan of.
Yeah, I think that's a very good assessment. The next match, I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it's so hard to figure out in Fatal 4-Ways, tag-wise, what's going on sometimes. And I think me and you predicted that the New Day, or I'm pretty sure I did at least, was going to retain. I think you did as well. I just didn't, unless you're going to put it right back Miz and Morrison, I don't see the Forgotten Sons or the Lucha House Party getting that. And Big E hit a big ending on Grand Metalik to retain the championship for his team. I don't even remember details of this match, to be honest with you. Was it short? Was it long? I don't remember. Chris, help me out.
It seemed like it was a pretty quick match. It was
That's
a
what I
pretty quick
thought.
match, but and we kind of assumed when Lucha House Party was there, one of them were taking the pin. I think that was both in our predictions as well. But yeah, the New Day gets the win. Not really surprising because, like you said, I don't think they're immediately going to throw the titles back on Miz and John Morrison. I think the more surprising thing is like why the hell the Usos weren't in this match. Is one of the Usos injured right now, and I'm forgetting about it? Okay. All right. Well, at least that checks out then, because I was gonna be like, why the hell? This is just like such a random thrown together tag match. I will say at least they had a tag match for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, because we definitely didn't have a Raw Tag Team Championship match on this pay-per-view.
I don't even remember who the Raw Tag Team Champions are.
What did I call them last time? Crime Time?
Oh, no, you didn't call them Crime Time. You call them the Primetime Players. Jesus Christ. Fuck, and I can't remember their names.
It's the Street Profits.
Street Profits, yeah.
I don't know why Primetime Players slipped out, but
yeah, you're right. They weren't there. Neither of them. Them and the Viking Raiders were having a basketball game, but we'll get to that later. The fuck. All right. Next was an impromptu match between Bobby Lashley and R-Truth. It was originally supposed to be Truth and MVP, but Lashley interrupted the pre-match argument and took MVP's place. And typical match, a little bit of offense from R-Truth. Bobby Lashley comes back, destroys him with a spear. And the only thing that I will say that, and it's more so from people that watched it, because I didn't. I've seen a little bit of Bobby Lashley, but apparently they're putting Bobby Lashley, getting him away from Lana, which I don't know why the fuck they did that to begin with. And him and MVP have at least done something, I guess, in the past. So he's going to be a part of MVP's little group that he's building. That should be neat. But yeah, R-Truth he got destroyed by Bobby Lashley. What'd you think, Chris?
Bobby Lashley having MVP as a manager is intriguing. I'm just not a huge fan of Bobby Lashley in the ring. It's very few and far between good Bobby Lashley matches. Outside of that, you got to do something with R-Truth since you can't fight for the 24/7 title. So I guess maybe R-Truth and the Band of Misfits are going to be going against this is going to be setting up a three-way match, I'm assuming, or like a group versus group match, probably him, Ricochet, and Cedric Alexander versus MVP's crew.
Yep. Something like that.
But the match itself was fine. They had an argument about how did this thing start up? I'm trying to even remember.
It was supposed to be. It was an argument about basketball, I believe. It was between R-Truth and MVP, I think. I don't remember.
Okay. I do. The one thing I remember is R-Truth has this great new, and I think he wore it on Raw too, this green shirt that says R-Truth is 24/7. And I was like, I think they missed a golden opportunity to, on the back, have like the 9/11, 7/11, I-85 South. All the different things he's called the title, like on the back of the shirt. I think that would have been really great. But outside of that, I think that might be the only WWE merch that I might purchase. I like that shirt.
It's not very often to the 24/7 title. That's amazing.
It's just not very often you get an R-Truth shirt, so you gotta get them when they're there.
Would that title mean anything if it wasn't for R-Truth? Kind of like would the hardcore title really mean anything if it wasn't for Crash Holly? Let's be honest.
Oh no, that title. Well, the hardcore title at least because Mick held it, and you have that
Yeah.
joke where Vince created a special title for Mick. So just for that angle alone, I guess. But yeah, no, without R-Truth, that title means dick all. You figured they would have done something more with him to take advantage of how popular he became just by holding that title.
You would think. You would think that R-Truth, who's incredible in the ring, especially for his age, and is an amazing person on the mic, every dynamic, actually, great heel, great baby face, they would push in a direction that's not silly. But I don't know, Chris. Has Yano ever won a major title in New Japan?
I believe so, actually.
Really?
But R-Truth is not. I mean, maybe like lightweight, either lightweight or I feel like he has either a tag title or something. Pretty sure. I don't have Yano pulled up on tap here, but R-Truth is he's had some WWE titles. He was the United States champion a couple times. Funny enough, the hardcore champion 2 times, according to this Wiki page. The 24/7 champion 35 times. So obviously better than Ric Flair, right?
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, there's no doubt. You can't take away also his NWA championship win. So he's it just sucks because, like you said, it's like, he's a total package, and it's like he's okay with what he's doing, and he seems extremely happy. But I don't know. It's funny because he could be like a champion, like right now, if we wanted.
I mean, he could have been a champion when he was feuding with John Cena, I think, and they didn't take
back
a
little
shot
Jimmy.
At it. Yeah, I think part of one of the biggest problems here is it's a WWE thing where if you're too good at being funny, you end up like Fandango and Breeze or Santino Morello. You just are going to get pigeonholed into that role.
It sucks, though. But yeah. Oh, well, still love R-Truth. And, he is absolutely hilarious. And I'm obviously not trying to stall on time to get back to where I was for the. And I think I completely deleted it.
If you guys are huge on. If you're R-Truth fans out there listening to this, give the man some merch money. Go buy that R-Truth shirt.
Go buy him.
It's the first R-Truth shirt I've seen since the little Jimmy thing. So definitely
just buy also a 24/7 title knockoff just because. Maybe he makes money off of that. I don't fucking know. He should make money if they do that. All right. What were you going to say? Sorry.
Oh, I was going to say I have the notes pulled up if you need me.
No, you're good. I finally found it. So we got the SmackDown Women's Championship match. Bayley going against Tamina. Before, I had some statements about how, just give it to Tamina. Her counterpart, she's a much better wrestler than her. I don't even know how to fucking say that anymore. She's obviously not a roughhouse in the ring like Nia Jax is, but my lord, usually if you're a Pacific, the Polynesian wrestler, whether you're part of the Analoa family or you're just naturally good in the ring, even if you're Yokozuna, who weighed 1,000 pounds. But for some reason, she's got 2 left fucking feet in this damn thing. I thought Bayley did good around her. This match was not memorable. They had that same type of stuff where Sasha, of course, is doing her thing. We don't know what the fuck is going on with Sasha and Bayley. Do we know the dynamic of what's going to happen? I mean, this is kind of just pointless and god dang it.
Is the answer, do we know or do we care?
That's the worst. Yeah. But Bayley countered a Samoan drop into a crucifix pin to win the match. After the match, Tamina tried a Samoan drop on Bayley again, but was stopped by Sasha Banks, and the ladies got the better of Tamina. Not trying to be mean, but my lord, never mind what I said. God damn, dude. I never saw Ace wrestle, but she's the daughter of Jimmy Snuka. Anyways, I'm ragging on Tamina too much. I feel bad. What do you think?
I'll give her a little bit of a break because she wrestles like once every 7 months, right?
That's a good point.
She goes on these long ass hiatuses where they don't use her. I mean, more of the problem with this match in general is Tamina she is a heel her entire run in WWE, and then you put her against another heel to build a storyline that has been in the works for 4 years in a match that's not going to be very good, and then you have your heel champion win with a roll up, basically. We'll call it a crucifix, but there's not a lot about this match to like. Even if the match went well, I don't know what if the end result still a roll up pin and everything in the ring was fine, what the hell story are you actually trying to tell with the match?
I don't know. I really don't. Yeah, I just continue to, out of, I think, pretty much all the championship divisions, because at least the IC, and we'll talk about that tomorrow once they announce all that stuff, at least the IC belt is having a tournament based around it. I think I care less about the SmackDown Women's Championship than I do any other championship represented on any of the WWE platforms, pretty much. So.
Did you forget about the women's tag belts?
Oh yeah, never mind. That definitely, and the Raw Men's tag is also up there too. But let's. I don't.
It's almost like WWF doesn't give a shit about tag team wrestling.
No, not at all. And regardless of how you feel about the revival, now maybe people can understand why the fuck they left, even after being offered lots of money, because it was like, we don't care if you're gonna give us the belts. Like, if you're gonna fucking do this to the tag division, what the fuck's the point? I don't get it. Ugh.
I mean, the only way you can be good in the tag division is just to be two of the best tag teams in the past 10 years and only feud with each other, which is just the Usos and New Day.
Yeah. And I hate to say it, but it gets boring after a while, as much as I love it at the same time. Anyways, let's keep on going. We got 2 more matches before we get to this bonfire. The Universal Championship match, Braun Strowman went against Bray Wyatt. You were right. Wyatt came out as himself, so right away I was like, okay, so this is going to be extended. This is not the Fiend. Bray Wyatt's going to lose. I thought what they pulled inside was fine with the Strowman, with the black sheep, because we were talking about what if the possibility of Bray taking over Strowman. But I mean, this wasn't a match really. This was just a small arrangement to advance the storyline to go forward. So it was what it is. Braun won. He beat Bray, but he did not beat The Fiend. And now we are a year from when The Fiend debuted. It was Monday. So I'm very happy that this is what happened a year later. If you can't tell by my fucking voice. I had all the hopes in the world when I saw his character. I was like, we're going to do cool things. And now, hey, I mean, he's fighting for the title. But I don't care. Like I said, Chris, I would rather, like, people made jokes about the fact of, like, kind of like how you're saying with Bray in the ring, just like have Bo Dallas be the Fiend and then Bray just be his fucking manager. I'm still saying the same thing, just like at the end of this stupid storyline, have Braun be the Fiend, and then you can have Bray being the mouthpiece and manager or something like that, because they kind of killed my enthusiasm. And I was very enthused a year ago. It's kind of sad. What do you got to say?
I mean, that's the one thing about Bray, is that he is still good on the mic. He doesn't have the best matches, but then you take the allure away by giving him a loss to Goldberg in a nothing match, and that wacky ass Hell in a Cell shit. Dickhead. Yeah, and then the wacky ass Hell in a Cell shit. It makes it really hard to care about the Fiend as a character, as being this unstoppable monster once he has been beaten. Kinda twice, because he technically lost in Hell in a Cell as well.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm hoping that they can take this and kind of do some cool stuff with it. Now, I haven't hated the pairing of Braun and Bray, but like I said, this wasn't really much of a match, just more of an advancement in the storyline.
You know what I hate? Your three of your main events are just angles. They're not actual matches. That's what I hate.
Yeah. That's very, very, very good point. It's a very good point. And the other big main event for the championship, the WWE championship, I should say, Drew McIntyre went against Seth Rollins. Some of it was a little clunky, I will admit. Some of it was pretty good. I did like that ending sequence that they had where it went from, like, I think, super kick into the headbutt, into backing up and trying to go for the knee, and then into the, whatchamacallit, the Claymore. Thought that was cool. But, yeah, I mean, I've seen this match before. I think I'll agree with you, Chris. I think this is my second favorite match of the night after the opening match. And it was a fine match, but I don't think it was anything crazy or special. I'm not ranting or raving, if you will. Man, people probably think that I fucking just hated this pay-per-view. Like, I wasn't depressed Sunday or anything like that. I'm just, I'm being honest. Chris, what'd you think?
I mean, I'll say I hated this pay-per-view. It was pretty bad. So people can get mad at me. I think this was, like I said, probably the second best match on the card. They had a good match, and I just thought it was fucking weird that Seth and Drew shook hands afterwards. The fuck was that?
I don't know, and I like that Seth, I don't know what they're doing with this whole Raw angle, but he's kind of like crazy or some shit like that. But yeah, I agree. Like, I don't even think that if Drew is like, your happy-go-lucky baby face, he should try to fucking shake Seth Rollins' hand. Seth Rollins is a piece of shit. Like, why?
No, I mean, a few weeks ago, he was just punting everyone that got near him, and now he's shaking his hand as a sign of respect for having a good. It's just not. One, it doesn't really fit Drew McIntyre's character, but it also doesn't fit Seth Rollins' character, because it's not like they had this big crucial battle of 3 or 4 matches. Like, this is something you save for down the line where the heel has to respect the baby face, not like a one-loss thing.
No, I agree with you. And someone joked, like, did like Vince see Braveheart for the first time, and then he's going to just turn Drew McIntyre completely into William Wallace? Like, it was a great fight! Shake my hand! Whatever.
I mean, I think the real answer is they probably were aware of the Becky Lynch situation, which we'll get into a little later, and they probably don't want Seth being a heel right now. So this is probably was their attempt at turning him babyface, or the start of him turning babyface. That, and he lost his entire fucking crew somehow. I still have no idea where AOP's at. And Buddy Murphy,
one of them's injured.
And those poor guys, they can't catch a break with these injuries. That sucks for them, if that's the case.
Yeah. Put them on a team with Jim Uso. Just smack them together. Or Jey Uso. Just Akam and Uso. Just fucking force that shit together.
That would be great. I mean, they're doing that on NXT. Like, Pete Dunne's not available, so they're like, here's just another random tag partner.
Are they going to give Matt Riddle another tag partner now? Oh, yeah. God. So. I don't know how the hell I'm going to explain this next match, Chris. Like, it's so hard to fucking sum up.
Okay. You want me to try?
All right, yeah. No, actually, I'd love to hear this. Go for it. And then I'll respond to it.
It's every one of those 4th of July fucking angles they did, and at the very end, someone climbed a ladder and grabbed a thing.
It's every one of those stupid happy holiday bullshit that, like, honestly, this screamed. If anyone's like, oh man, I have a hard on over the rock and roll wrestling era, blah 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 blah. This is the type of shit I would expect from that time period. Like, this is when they had game shows, and the hijinks was so stupid. Why was John Laurinaitis in this? Just to get pie faced? Who's the creepy dog?
So when this was happening, I was like, the only thing this is missing is like a food fight or someone getting a pie in their face. And then like 2 minutes later, the fucking John Laurinaitis got pied.
God damn it. And then it just... All right, so it starts off with the ladies and the men lined up next to the elevators. Keep in mind, there's 3 elevators, I think, for them to choose from, but I don't know if any of them are good at math. Oh, no, the men started somewhere else. That's right. So the women had 3 different elevators to choose from. But it was Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax, Dana Brooke, Lacey Evans, Carmella. They hear something. They look above themselves over the balcony. Asuka's there doing some dancing. Jumps on top of them. And then the men's start off, I believe, in the gym. And Otis, Daniel Bryan, Rey Mysterio, Aleister Black, King Corbin, AJ Styles, they're beating the living hell out of each other. So both fights start. Asuka jumps in an elevator. All the girls don't know what to do. She's going, dancing a lot. That type of stuff actually laugh. Asuka made me laugh a good amount of times in this. And she also got annoying, which is crazy. God. The men's, the thing is, like, you know, you can't gauge how hard they're hitting each other because you can tell they're putting special effects over everything. Or not special effects, but sound effects over everything while they're, like, nailing each other. For some reason, Baron Corbin, why did he get nervous after he broke a fucking mirror? Like, Chris, they're destroying the whole entire fucking building. Like, he's worried about that? Like, they told him they could do it, right?
No, maybe he wasn't supposed to break that. Maybe they had set up things that they were supposed to break, and he's like, oh my god, Vince. I just like the part where Dana Brooke pulls down a briefcase that's not the briefcase in a very R-Truth moment. And then somehow Stephanie's just able to remote conference call into this room from her house and her theme music's playing in the background. It's like, come the fuck on with this shit. You just all you had to do is have the announcers explain, like, there's a ring on top of the building, and then just have everyone leave Dana Brooke there and have her celebrate, because they literally didn't utilize her the rest of the match anyway, so it didn't fucking matter.
No, she slipped a second later on the floor, and that was it for her. Shortly after that, it was a great use. Dude, Nia Jax looked like a fucking idiot in this goddamn match. She fell over so many times. And then that one time where they matched her up with Otis, can you think about Vince trying to convince Nia that this is a good visual? Like, I would have been so goddamn offended if I was told to, like, go face to face with Otis, who's holding a friggin' hoagie or a piece of chicken or whatever the hell he was eating. God damn, this is terrible. So bad.
The only thing that I actually liked out of this match, and I'm being completely honest, is they're still selling the fact that AJ Styles is scared of the Undertaker.
Yeah.
and there's a possibility that the Undertaker just has an office in Titan Towers that has a bunch of coffins in there.
And a purple like light, basically, just especially for him. Oh my
just
god.
AJ knowing how ridiculous it is and overselling it is what made that good.
That one scene with him, Daniel Bryan, and Vince in the office, that made me laugh a bit, especially when Vince put on the hand sanitizer afterwards. I'm not gonna lie, they got me there. The bathroom part with Brother Love, that was so fucking dumb. That I did not. And he, just toilet humor. You gotta have him zipping up his drawers and shit. And I don't think Bruce Pritchard realized this. Like, I don't think modern audiences know who the fuck Brother Love is.
No, I mean, that's a very specific time of WWF, and they never talk about Brother Love, like, ever. So probably not. I will say, I had, like, looked at my wife, and I was like, I wonder if they're going to see the giant Tyrannosaurus Rex head that's in Vince's office. And then when they went into Vince's office, sure as shit, there it was on the side of the wall. I was like, fuck yeah.
You called it, man. The match was
so bad, I had to make little mini games while I was watching this.
God, and it's like what's the fucking, because they look like they were, like, knocking each other and smashing each other against the walls pretty hard. It's like over a stupid, like, little comedy, like, giant Home Alone that Vince came up with in his head.
You know what's better than this?
What's that?
Fucking Money in the Bank match. A goddamn wrestling match.
Hey, let me talk to you, pal. Yeah, and like
Why
I said,
we go through the effort of setting up a fucking ring if you're not even gonna have a semblance of a match.
Here's another question. All right, so we get to the ending, and I'll chime in with other dumb bullshit that I remember. But when we get to the ending and Asuka's up there, she's trying to get the belt. Why was her and Baron Corbin trying to stop each other? They're not fighting against each other. Like, what the fuck was the point of that? That is about as pointless as Britt Baker trying to do her fucking submission move on the outside of the ring while the bitch is getting fucking pinned inside the ring. two things that completely boggle my mind within wrestling. But why was Asuka going after Baron Corbin and Baron Corbin trying to fight Asuka when they were in two different matches at the same time? Did no one tell them?
I don't know, but I was really did she miss Corbin? Because I was like, if she missed Corbin, that'd be fucking awesome.
No, she didn't, because he tried to kill Aleister Black and Rey Mysterio right afterwards. What the hell? But don't worry, they're gonna tell us the next night. And I forgot to say, or well, we'll get to Raw, but like that there was like an extra roof or something. So you're gonna let this motherfucker still work there, and he's trying to kill 3 of your people. Why?
Yeah.
But at least Elias got him. At least Elias got him.
And you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and shut down WWE fan. If I know that probably our listeners aren't these people, but anyone that's like, this is the same thing as that Sammy Guevara match from last week. No, the fuck, it's not.
No, it's not.
They were legitimately fighting and trying to kill each other, and there was a pinfall, and it was a match, and it wasn't on a fucking pay-per-view.
There's no background music either.
There's no background music. There's no random Stephanie McMahon appearance. There was no Brother Love. There was no fucking food fight. John Laurinaitis in a power chair. Like shit. Half of the reason their audience fucking left on screen with John Laurinaitis. Like this was shit.
Oh,
So don't anyone at me on Twitter trying to convince me that any of this was good outside of the few funny moments because of the people involved, mostly AJ Styles.
And yeah, AJ was enjoyable in this. So was Daniel Bryan. Their reactions were funny, but it's like, or we could have had the two of them in an actual match with tables.
Well, yeah, just a fucking Money in the Bank match with AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan, and Rey Mysterio Jr. Yeah, that's
fucking Aleister and fucking like what the hell, man. You can keep Corbin in it. Fuck it. But Jesus.
Corbin would have been great there. He could catch everybody. That's one thing Corbin's good at. He fucking at least catches people.
Or throws them off buildings.
I'm talking more from a wrestling standpoint, but yeah, he does throw motherfuckers off buildings apparently.
Oh man, Doink the Clown. He also made a cameo. We mentioned it, but like, what the fuck was that? And that wasn't any of the 4 or 5 wrestlers that played fucking Doink. Was that just an intern? They were like, turn you into a fucking clown, and you're just gonna pop up for no reason.
I was kind of hoping it would like be Matt Riddle. Like later on, he would come out on Twitter and he's like, "Did you guys see my appearance at Money in the Bank?"
At least it would have been something to talk about, you know. All right, we talked about Asuka winning. So we have this moment where Otis tries to go in there, and they already did this beforehand when they were making fun of it on SmackDown, that Otis on an aluminum fucking ladder, like this would be possible, puts one foot on it, breaks it, you know, Stooges style. Obviously, he's Chris Farley. So in order for him to win, because obviously inevitably Otis won, AJ and Corbin were fighting over it, and Elias came, screwed over Corbin, which means that we're probably gonna get more of that horse shit. And AJ dropped it, fumbled it, and oh yeah, Otis wins it. And I kind of said it more as like totally like one of the last people I thought would win the damn thing. I was like, if we're gonna go this random, why didn't Aleister Black could have done really well with this compared to Otis? I will say that, but you know, Otis won. Chris, how do you feel about that?
It definitely shows me that they have no fucking idea what they want to do with the title right now, and I'm assuming that giving it to Otis at least puts it on SmackDown, and maybe they don't want Daniel Bryan in the title picture right away. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. But I mean, Otis is just gonna lose. Like, he's gonna fuck up somehow, or he's gonna get screwed over by Mandy Rose, or he's just gonna give the damn thing to Mandy Rose, which is a high probability.
Oh, or
like,
yeah, I can see that.
He just fucking gives it to her. Like Saturday or Friday, he gives her the title. She screws him over afterwards. She's been using him the whole time, and then you just feel bad for Otis again, and then we're back to the storyline. Or he gives it to her, and then she gives it to like Dolph Ziggler or some shit.
I would hate that. I would absolutely hate.
I have a feeling that's where this is going, just because I don't see them putting Otis in a title match, even as much as the fans love Otis. And your Otis prediction is like kind of like my Kofi Kingston prediction, where Kofi's been in so many of these fucking situations that I always pick him. That's why it was so awesome when he finally did win the title. Like for years and years, he's been my Rumble winner prediction and my Money in the Bank winner prediction. It was really sad that he was somehow not a part of this. It feels like Kofi should have been a part of this.
Well, he has to fucking hold up the tag division now because they need him. But he was definitely
that and I guess Xavier Woods has still got a torn Achilles, so he's going to be gone for 5 more months.
Well, all right, so let's give Otis a little bit of credit. This is more of a what if and a question I'm gonna propose to you. We haven't been able to see much of Otis as a character other than this goofy, like I said, Chris Farley-esque, dude, if you will. But big guys, in wrestling, a lot of them can come off very endearing and show off a different side. And some of them kind of start off, if not comedic, far from the idea of someone that could be, like an actual heroic baby face that you want to get behind. Otis has not given us any of that. But you look at,
I can give a.
I'm just give me 2 more seconds. Just you can look at people like Dusty Rhodes, Mick Foley, George Animal Steel, even Mark Henry. Can Otis flip it? Can Otis actually get? I mean, we haven't seen him do this, but can Otis actually come off like a heroic character, or is he just a comedic piece? And it's going to be exactly what you expect and what I expect, basically.
Yeah, the example I was thinking of is Mark Henry. You could just turn him heel if you wanted to go that route. I don't know. It would take a lot to get him over as like a top baby face, in my opinion. Just because there's going to be that subset of wrestling fans, the same people that hate Kevin Owens are going to hate Otis as a top baby face, which sucks, but is realistic. But you could definitely make him a heel, a la like what they've done with Mark Henry, and kind of the guy to do that as far as the booking mind goes, be Mr. Michael P.S. Hayes. But he's not really. He's not even really involved in the booking SmackDown anymore, right? At least not to the he's not really involved in the booking of SmackDown anymore, right? At least not to the same extent as
I don't know
what he was when Michael P.S. Hayes. But I
don't think so.
Because when Henry was there and they did the Hall of Pain and the Silverback, which just saying that's like fucking one of those WWE things. I mean, there's a lot they could do with him, but I do think this is just some kind of setup ploy for some sort of Mandy Rose storyline, because they seem like they have a little bit of a hard-on for these relationship storylines right now.
Or Vince has a little bit of a hard-on for blondes. Is that what you're trying to get at?
Well, I mean, they just did this thing with Lana, right? And then they just did this angle with Otis that, in theory, came to a resolution that people liked. So they got to have some sort of way to fuck it up. And before that, they were going to do a lesbian angle with Lana and Liv. And some of this is Paul's, but now that it's on SmackDown, it seems like there is just a general direction of we need some relationship issues on our shows.
Yeah, I mean, relationship issues are just the worst. But yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting with Otis, and we're going to find out pretty much tomorrow night what direction they're going to go in. We'll find out real soon. If he can come out and he cuts a promo, and I'm like, yeah, man, fucking Otis, dude. Who knew? And me and Chris will just be like baffled, but I don't see it. This is it's Chris Farley mixed with Macho Man Randy Savage. I just don't see that fucking becoming endearing or heroic or anything more than just like a fun goofy babyface, a comedic-based babyface. Like, I hate to say that. Like, if in a world where R-Truth is just that, don't tell me Otis is all of a sudden going to become like the fucking, Mother Teresa or some shit. I can't believe it.
Yeah, the only way it works is if you turn him heel. Like, if he goes through enough shit that he just snaps and turns into an absolute monster, and they book him kind of like a Vader or a Mark Henry, then it becomes believable as being a top guy. But the problem is you already have two monsters, one named Braun Strowman and one named Bray Wyatt on that same fucking roster, so I don't even know how you would really get there to the top of that card.
Oh, yeah. Stakes and weights, baby.
That being said, I love Otis. I think we've both put Otis over on this show. It's just I have absolutely no faith in them giving him this Money in the Bank this title shot and actually putting the title on him. Like, I have zero faith in that.
He's just, to me, a very, very, and I've said this in the past, he just reminds me of Hacksaw Jim Duggan a lot. And that will be great if he ends up being that type of concept. I just, like I said, I don't know. I mean, he's so fucking goofy.
Like, him winning the title's no worse than fucking Bray holding it.
Yeah.
Right, at least right now.
At least. Well, yeah, that's a good point. At least right now, I was gonna say in the past, I was like, at least Bray's like a creative force of weirdness, that WWE tends to fuck up. It's just Otis is goofy. I love Otis. I hope he gets the fucking title. Fuck it. You changed my mind. I'm rooting for him.
I mean, it's not like I am not against Otis getting the title. It's just I know WWE and that shit's not happening.
Hey, Jinder Mahal's had the damn title before. So, and speaking of which, that might be the segment we talk about is people that won the title that was crazy and people that never did would be the opposite concept for a conversation piece on that. And Jinder would definitely be on there for certain reasons. I know people are into Jinder and they're happy he's back, and maybe it is a different body, I guess, at Raw, but he never, nothing. Modern day Maharaja. Nothing. Come on. Give me the fucking, give me the Iron Sheik. Give me the other Iron Sheik, Jambroni.
People just tend to forget that he was on a 100-match losing streak or whatever before he won that number one contenders match, and then the only shit that was any good was the fact that they shoved Randy Orton in that segment.
But he got in shape, Chris, and he played a racist-ass character even though he's a fucking Canadian dude,
It had nothing to do with the fact that Vince was trying to sell to a TV market at all.
No, not at all. Do you want to go over Raw? Actually, there was some fun stuff on Raw. We can go over Raw. So Raw opened with Becky Lynch coming out. She was very emotional. I got very nervous. In retrospect, it sucks that Becky's not going to be there, especially for WWE since she's one of their top stars. But I think injury immediately. Some nagging injury that's come full front, and now they can't compete or whatever. It's happened so many times before in the past, so that's where my mind went. But enter Asuka, who comes out and is furious, basically, essentially, that Becky's saying that she can't defend the belt, not knowing the situation, if you will. In reality, with this whole entire situation, apparently Asuka knew that she was winning the title beforehand. I mean, they already taped Money in the Bank and everything. So she was told she was going to go under there. Just most people did not know why Becky was leaving. So the crazy dancing stuff, that was Asuka doing her antics. But the reaction to her when she told her she was pregnant, that was actually which I got a little teary-eyed. I'm not going to lie. I'm happy for Becky that she's a mom and she can do her thing. I don't know what the fuck they're doing with Seth now in this whole entire concept. It just, especially with Shayna Baszler saying that comment, like, oh, do we really know who it is? I'm like, oh my God, are we going to go down this weird rabbit hole with the cult leader? But anyways, going back to it, it was a nice little moment. It was fun. Becky came back and a lot of people greeted her, or at least the babyface did. Obviously, you don't want Baron Corbin. They're like, I love you, Becky. But, she's pregnant. and she is going to be gone for a while. And now the man is the mom, and WWE doesn't have Roman, and they don't have Becky. So it's just crazy with those, especially because those are two of their biggest attractions. So, obviously Vince is going to be happy for her. Everyone's going to be happy for her. But there's got to be a part of this, Chris, where it's like, fuck, like, when they were told about it. But she found out shortly after WrestleMania. And, Becky Lynch is going to be out, and her and Seth Rollins will be having a child. Just craziness, obviously. But what did you think about this opening? Were you worried that it was an injury concept?
Well, so honestly, I missed
really
the first
emotional.
10 minutes. I missed the 10-minute first 10 minutes, and you sent me that message. Is like, holy shit, is Becky Lynch retiring? And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? What's going on? And then you told me, and then I went back and rewatched it. She was definitely very emotional, but this is like one of those. As long as she comes back and they don't fire her or some shit, because that has also happened in the past. Looking at you, Awesome Kong. This was a good WWE moment, right? Very happy. Asuka's excitement seemed real, even if maybe she had known going in. She really sold it well, and the whole opening of the show I thought was really well done, and I think it reflected in the ratings. I think a lot of people tuned in with them putting this at the very beginning of the show and kind of wanting to see the follow-up for the rest of the show, especially knowing that her and Seth are in a relationship.
Yeah, and that's the crazy part is Seth's involvement in this, because when we see him, he looks like a fucking troll doll. Like, his hair, he hasn't done anything since the day before, so it's all just bunched up. He already kind of looks like a troll doll anyways, but it was a we'll get there. Well, how about that? Bobby Lashley went against Humberto Carrillo and beat him with a submission with the full Nelson, which I have not seen someone do in a very long time. Later in the episode, MVP confronted Lashley and asked him when he was going to let Lashley confronted Lashley and asked him when he was going to let Lashley out, like the Lashley that he knew. And he called Lana a cage that Lashley is trapped in. Lana screamed about it, and it was fucking annoying as shit. But we kind of talked about this. So MVP's got a group together. He's got a tag team I don't really get compared to the tag team. I just figured that might end up with him, with Ricochet and Cedric. But he's also potentially got Apollo Crews and now Bobby Lashley. What the hell are they going to do at Lana after this? Like, what did you think about this? And, like, I mean, I'm being honest. Like, she just signed again. Rusev's gone. They didn't do the lesbian angle. And now it looks like, because there's no point in them being together anymore, that her and Bobby Lashley are going to split off as well.
I mean, honestly, I think they'll probably either fire her or not use her. I mean, she re-signed, right? They didn't get Rusev to re-sign. They fire Rusev. They are ending the angle with Lana. And as far as wrestling goes, Lana's not the best in the ring. And you turned her heel. And there is no Rusev to help get her over. So, like, I don't really know I guess you just don't use her, or you just have her be one of the people that you throw in those, 6-man matches that you just have constantly.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. Although, and like maybe you'll be able to answer this. Maybe you watched it then. You said that you like the idea of MVP, managing Bobby Lashley, or at least it's more interesting than this shit with Lana. Did you ever get a chance to see them? I guess they were in a part of some type of faction in TNA.
I didn't see them in TNA during that time period, because this would have been 2014, 2015, right?
Oh, okay.
MVP was there. So I had kind of fallen off, but they kind of were around the same time period in WWF. The more reason I said that is because MVP is a great talker and a manager that can take bumps and shit. and can have more involvement in the matches to a negative extent, and it builds out MVP's structure and kind of gives you at least a cushion to make Bobby Lashley a bit more entertaining than he is. Because you can't just put him with Paul Heyman, but in theory, putting him with MVP, and you build him kind of like you did Lesnar, and you have him have very short, quick matches and beat people. I mean, I don't know who you want to sacrifice to the Bobby Lashley push, but if you want to go that route, at least with MVP, you have a bunch of other obstacles before you can get to him, kind of thing. And like I said, MVP is a great talker, and it fills out his little faction group pretty well.
Yeah. Okay. I could see that. I'm interested in it. I do like MVP a lot. Maybe they'll just feed him like they can just, I don't know, clone Akira Tozawa. Just feed him like 100 Akira Tozawas over and over again. And that's how you build Bobby Lashley with P.
That's how you put him over as a monster. You have him beat somebody that loses every fucking week.
Wins on one show because it's obviously the lesser in Vince's eyes with NXT, but loses on Raw and SmackDown as like an enhancement talent. It's amazing.
I mean, as we've seen, the crossover audience isn't that big between those two shows. So
yeah, that is the point. I've argued it with a couple of those idiots.
Yeah, saying in Vince's eyes, he's looking at the show that has the more viewers. So Vince's eyes, Akira Tozawa is just fucking fodder.
Well, speaking about him being fodder, we had a match with him and Angel Garza, but before this, there's an interview that I think Charlie was trying to conduct. Sorry if it was the wrong announcer. No, I'm not. I don't really fucking care. Dasha, one of them was trying to fucking talk to her. I think Dasha's in AEW now. Anyway, she was trying.
Charlie was because Charlie I think did all the backstage interviews, so it was Charlie, and she showed more personality. So hopefully she doesn't get fired next week, because I feel like she was legitimately happy about Becky's pregnancy in some of the later segments, which kind of shocked me a little bit.
Well, no, maybe that's good. She can bring that energy up a bit. But yeah, she was trying to interview Selena Vega, Angel Garza, Austin Theory, and Andrade. But Angel Garza and Andrade looked to be having some problems with Austin Theory. And Angel and Austin were kind of going at it before that was broken up. Then we had Angel going against Akira Tozawa, and it was a pretty good match. But Angel won with the wing clipper. After the match, Drew McIntyre came into the ring and took out Garza, and then I believe Andrade pushed Austin Theory first, actually, into a Claymore, and then Garza got Claymored, and then led to a match between Andrade and Drew McIntyre. Pretty good standard match. These guys, I think, work well in the ring together. I think we've watched that since NXT. But Drew McIntyre won with a Claymore kick. After the match, McIntyre talked about the upcoming crossover between Raw and SmackDown and revealed that he'll be fighting King Corbin on next week's show. We're about to get to that. But before we talk about basically whatever the fuck they called it last year, which is the same goddamn thing, how did you like these two matches? And I think Austin Theory is going to be branching off, man. I think he's going to be I don't see him involved in Selena's faction much longer.
I have to agree with you, and hopefully that's for the better, but I liked the idea of the faction. It's just I hate the idea of them losing every week, or losing a lot more than if you're trying to build a dominant faction, they're losing more than they should. The first match was Garza versus Drew McIntyre.
It was Garza versus Akira Tozawa, and then Andrade going against Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, so I mean, Drew needed to win. I guess I didn't have a problem with either of these matches, but I don't really remember too much about them, if that makes sense. So maybe I glossed over a bit.
Yeah, you probably did. I will say, like I said, I think Drew McIntyre and Andrade have good chemistry. No offense, and this just happens with wrestlers. The couple times I've seen Drew and Andrade go at it, I actually like this match more than the one he had with Seth, and I think Seth is an incredible wrestler. I just thought it was kind of standard or whatever. So, but Keep on putting the
I'm giving
champions.
Seth we got to give Seth a little bit of a break considering he probably just found out that he was a baby daddy.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yep. It's gonna be a little nerve-wracking. I mean, like I said, we'll see him later on as a troll doll when he comes out. Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross hosted a Moment of Bliss featuring the returning Iconics. They exchanged words and agreed to a non-title match. This led to a match, and the Iconics defeated the women's tag team champions Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, so they get a actual title match in the future. And they basically won with their new finisher, basically an inverted magic killer. And yeah, they're going to be going against them again. I don't care about this at all. I'm glad that people are excited the Iconics are back. To me, that they have like a high frequency that fucking destroys my ears when they're talking, and especially when they're talking shit inside the ring. So I'm sure it works for some people, but I would rather keep it on Alexa Bliss and Nikki because that's how much I don't care about the Iconics. Anyways, Chris, how did you like this?
I mean, you remember how much I liked this feud the first time around, right?
You were very happy about it. I think you were excited.
I think the Iconics looked a little better in the ring. I like the new finisher, so I'm not going to completely bury it, but you have a tag division that has 2 tag teams in it. So it's hard for me to get excited about even if they went out and had a 5-star fucking match, I just know that that's just going to be the same match I'm going to see for the next 6 months or whatever.
Yeah, it really is. All right. Well, I'm sure they're going to win those titles anyways. Rey Mysterio and Aleister Black didn't die at Money in the Bank. Actually, they fell off onto a secondary roof, and they're going to team up against Rollins and Murphy. Seth Rollins interrupted an interview with Rey, and Rey tried to congratulate him for Becky Lynch's pregnancy, but Rollins refused to shake his hand. It's like I said, they're trying to make it look like Rollins basically, I guess, didn't sleep. His hair was all messed up and matted. I'm really, like I said, we'll get to the whole part where he basically tries to take out Rey Mysterio's eye. So now I guess we'll get Pirate Rey after we got Pirate Moxley. But what weirdness is going on with this whole entire? They're going to use a pregnancy in an angle. Like I said, Shayna said we don't know who Becky's the parent of the child is anyways. Like, are they going in a weird realm now that the man's going to be stepping out, or are they going to want to just keep her out of it? Because he lost to Drew McIntyre, now he's not as confident as he was. Like, what the fuck happened?
I mean, I think the actual answer is they're turning him babyface, and that he was acting like this evil asshole. Maybe that's why he shook his hand. Seeing fatherhood ahead of him, maybe it changes his personality, and he wants to be a good guy again. That's where I think it's going.
But he dug Rey Mysterio's head into a chair, or he tried to blind him. Chris,
I get that, but he's tormented, right? So maybe the whole setup with him and Rey is that Rey is a father and they bring Rey's kid back. And then you have that moment where Drew has a chance, or not Drew, but Seth has a chance to demolish Rey's kid and then doesn't because he's becoming a father. And that's the storyline they sell you. Actually, that's fucking way too good of writing, so they probably won't do that. So they'll probably do what you're saying and make this an angle.
It's awkward, weird angle. God, that's what I'm worried about. Or they could bring Dominic back, or Brock Lesnar can come back and hurt both Dominic and Seth Rollins and claim to be the father of both Dominic and also Becky's baby. Yeah.
I mean, he could threaten to hurt Becky. That seems like something Brock would do. It's not in real life, but at least the WWE character Brock, he gives 0 fucks about anything.
He's an evil bastard. Bret Hart said that the first time he saw him, he said it was like looking at a Kodiak bear. I don't know why I said that, but that's what he said. So
that makes sense. Now Brock lives in Canada, so maybe they hang out. Who knows?
All right, so we had R-Truth, Cedric Alexander, and Ricochet going against MVP, Brandon Vink, and Shane Thorne. Truth also wrestled in as the Pretty Ricky persona, which is awkward as fuck. but he was doing it the whole entire time. With he had like these fake teeth. If you didn't see his match, he had fake teeth in, and he would like cross his eyes and shit. But he made the referee hold his teeth, which caused a distraction and allowed him to pin MVP after a lie detector. After the match, Lashley speared Truth and held up Truth so that MVP could talk and also beat the crap out of him. So looks like I said that unit is getting put together. I'm liking also the fact that they're allowing it seems like MVP to transition as a manager, but he's also getting a chance to still wrestle because it's not like he's terrible in the ring. He's definitely still athletic.
Yeah, like a year ago, he was like, I'm done. Then he came back to do one WWE thing, and somehow now he's signed a manager in wrestling. So good for MVP. I love that guy. If you guys out there ever get a chance, watch The Wrestlers, which is a documentary I think that's out there on Vice. He has an episode of that specifically talking about his love of Japan and teaching wrestling students and just his love for wrestling and kind of where he came from. It's very interesting. This is a guy that came like legitimately from prison and changed his life and became a professional wrestler, has accomplished a lot in a lot of different places. So I'm always happy to see more MVP. I like the faction being put together, and I like this match. That was pretty decent overall for what they're trying to do with the storyline.
Pretty solid for sure. All right, so we had Jinder Mahal. He was interviewed and said he was ready for the next part of his journey and will be a hero's journey. So he's claiming babyface. He also said something about Drew McIntyre being happy for his friend. That's all bullshit. We're going to get Jinder, and he's going to, as soon as he gets a chance, he's going to be one of the next people taking on Drew McIntyre, I would assume. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's changed, Chris.
No, I think you're spot on. They got to have someone for Drew to beat up, so might as well put a big guy in there with him. That's probably Vince's thought process. At least until they can get Kevin Owens back.
He's a big bastard.
With whatever they're doing with that, I think Kevin would be the next guy, right? That would be an actual threat if they're done with Seth.
Yeah. And it's like, because most of the other options are baby faces, so you definitely need to put someone that makes sense. Shayna Baszler said that Becky Lynch is throwing away her career to raise a parasite who will suck because it's its dad. Later, Natalia came, defended her, and Baszler said some really harsh things in the Natty. Like fuck, it's not like you're gonna be a mother anytime soon. You know that the Hart lineage is gonna end with you. Getting that heat, man. Whoever wrote that for her, Jesus Christ, did hope that they cleared that with Natty. That was kind of harsh. Maybe I'm just being a little bit sensitive, Chris.
No, I don't think you're being sensitive. They do this shit to Natalia all the time, and I can't tell if she's just okay with it or if like people actually don't like her and they just say this shit.
I don't know, man. It was awkward.
They say very offensive shit to Natalia, like all the Natalia all the time, even going back to like calling her fat and shit a couple years ago. Like this is like an ongoing theme, and they kind of play it out on Total Divas too. So I don't know, maybe she just has a lot of heat with people, but that was kind of a fucked up thing to say. I don't think you're being soft on that. It came off like kind of fuck you, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. But for Shayna's side, I know that she didn't write it, so it definitely made her come off more like a heel. But yeah, I just didn't really appreciate the wording that they used for that. But let's go to the fact that AJ Styles got upset by a commercial for Undertaker's Last Ride. What is? God damn it! It'd be really good. All right, so AJ is gonna have this match with Undertaker. It's gonna be this epic action scene. And at the end of it, he buries him alive, but he gets out. And now he doesn't have his boys, so it's just him now. So what can we do? Let's just bring him back in, and he'll like be scared if Undertaker pops up underneath his fucking bed like a 3-year-old. Yeah, that sounds good. Let's just do that. No fucking changes except for now he gets all scared and shit like that if the Undertaker has a fucking commercial. out of character nonetheless. Whatever. By the way, first episode of that was fucking amazing. Why is AJ like this is how they're going to display that he's scared of the Undertaker, that affected him, Chris. They're not going to put anything into it. They're just going to fucking, it scares him. Undertaker. Ah! Don't put not even an action figure. Take that away from me. I'm going to send him action figures of the Undertaker to scare him in this mail.
I think what makes AJ so good at this is that he dealt with so much ridiculous shit in TNA that he was already prepared for this. Like he's like, oh yeah, I'm prepared for this bullshit. Don't worry. It's like,
God,
I don't know how else to explain it. I mean, he's doing his best to do what they're asking him to do, and it's funny, but it is super fucking dumb. Like, it's super dumb. They should have just had him win the Money in the Bank. That was my prediction, to win Money in the Bank, and then have him go on a win streak and win the title, and then you do fucking Taker versus AJ at Mania, and you give Taker the belt, and fucking Taker retires, and everybody goes home happy. And he just drops the title, and then you can set up a title tournament or something. Or, you don't do that, but you still give AJ some strong wins. You don't necessarily, if you don't want to do like a Sting or like a different, more tormented version of AJ, you don't have to do that. But come WrestleMania time, you just do what Shawn did. You do the HBK thing. You give Shawn a bunch of strong, meaningful wins. You build up to it, and then you have Shawn be the one that fucks with the Undertaker and torments him. Just like Taker versus HBK 2. It's almost like they book shit and they forget how they book shit, Dave. Within their own company.
They can't do the same thing twice. They're going to make sure it's shittier the next time if they do anything close to it.
That's the thing, is when they get something that they think works, they do it 1,000 times, but something that actually did work, they can't do it right ever again.
All right, well, let's talk about this next match that I actually thought was pretty good, especially the concept of it, because it is giving Rollins some depth to him. But we had Aleister Black and Rey Mysterio, and they defeated Seth Rollins and Murphy by disqualifications. So basically, Murphy was wrestling both guys really well, actually. Buddy Murphy's a badass wrestler, but he couldn't get Seth Rollins to give a shit about the whole entire match at all. He was catatonic and refusing to get involved. And anyway, like later on in the match, all of a sudden, Rey Mysterio goes for a 616 and grabs Mysterio and throws him to the floor, which causes disqualification. I had no idea that was a fucking thing. I'm pretty sure that would be completely legal, but whatever the fuck. It's the fact that he went fucking apeshit crazy, and then put his face into the corner of the ring steps and gouged his eye until it was obviously fake blood. By the way, people on Facebook, my God, people on the WWE page, he didn't actually lose his fucking eye. That was all fake. You guys are idiots. Sorry, I had to say that because there were so many comments about, like, enraged that Rey Mysterio. Yeah, it's still real to you guys. Really is. Anyways, after the commercial break, Rollins tried to apologize to Rey Mysterio. So what does Aleister Black do, who's pissed off with him? He doesn't attack fucking Seth Rollins. He goes right around Seth Rollins and goes and attacks Buddy Murphy and starts beating the shit out of him. Really weird, really awkward. But at the same time, I like some of the stuff and elements they're adding to Rollins. It's making me intrigued and wondering where they're going. So that's a good thing. What do you think Aleister's going to do to avenge Ray's honor, Chris? What's going to happen with Ray, man? He doesn't have an eye.
Well, I mean, Aleister doesn't care about anyone. Isn't he just sitting in a janitor's closet waiting for someone to come in or whatever?
Come pick a fight.
like, why does he? I mean, like, I know
he's
Aleister
supposed to be a loner.
I know he's supposed to be a good guy in this scenario, but his character also doesn't necessarily have to give a shit about Rey Mysterio.
No, would Taz give a shit if someone fucking got hurt? Would he be like concerned and shit like that in the back, like trying to find out? No, he's a fighting, killing machine that's dark. Like, ugh, I hate it. Would Undertaker give a shit?
No. Ask Kane when they were in a tag team together. Undertaker gave 0 fucks. They just happened to be in a tag team together. Same thing with like Taz and Sabu, for instance, they didn't give a shit about each other at all. They were just tag team partners. It's possible to do that. I thought that's where they were going, and that's why he just avoided Seth. It's just like, well, Buddy Murphy pissed him off, so he's going after Buddy. Whatever happens to Ray happens to Ray. That's how they should have explained it. Then right after, like you said, asking about his health and stuff, it does seem very weird that you go after the guy that just massacred him. But whatever. To each their own, I guess. I like the Seth thing. I do think this sets up a feud with him and Ray, and it's probably going to involve Dominic in some way, or at least that's how I would book it. But like you said, they could just do something with Becky having multiple partners or some dumb shit. Because like I said, they also have this weird relationship. This weird relationship hard on right now in WWE for this kind of shit. So maybe that'll happen.
Oh God. All right, so all I gotta say about this is Street Profits and the Vikings played basketball. The Vikings are Vikings. I have no idea why the fuck they're doing these segments. They lost 74-2. It's a swerve, however, because apparently the Raiders are really good at basketball and let the Profits win, and they believed them. Ivar dunked, which was kind of cool to watch him dunk, but yeah, this screams Bruce Pritchard, Vince McMahon. Like fucking 1990. Like this seems like a Kurt Hennig, some type of segment.
Mr. Perfect.
But it would have been awesome if Mr. Perfect was in it. It was terrible with this concept.
Well, if it was Mr. Perfect, he would have won 92-2 and been better at basketball than everyone else because he's perfect.
Of course.
Or he would have
perfect.
Or he would have hit exactly 100 and stopped playing. You have Vikings. Why didn't the Street Profits just score go up by 2 points, and then the Viking Raiders just demolish the basketball goal?
Or the Street Profits. Why don't they just pop the fucking basketball and just charge them and started beating them over the head with turkey fucking breasts or whatever the hell? God damn it.
They could have just pulled out the basketball goal and hit them with it. These huge fucking massive bronze flipping ambulances. That is not that far fetched. You know what I mean?
Oh God! Could you imagine? Actually, do you think that WCW would have done this shit when they had the Road Warriors and Harlem Heat that during that 95 era, back when the fucking Legion of Doom was around and shit? Would they do a segment like this with them? I don't even think they would have.
No,
this was dumb.
I mean, but because Harlem Heat, well, 95 would have been. Now that's after Sherry Martel and Colonel J. Parker, so I don't know. It's WCW, but probably not because the way they
and they were cheesy.
Is they were cheesy, but their tag division was here's some matches. This tag team's gonna win. It 95 time period. They were still kind of a wrestling company, so they had wrestling matches to set up a tag division, and then number one contenders, and then those two had a match. That was how they. That's pretty much how they booked. But yeah, if you go earlier with Harlem Heat, you get some really wacky, terrible WCW shit. And that was before Bischoff. So when you say 95, I can't even blame Bischoff or Rusev for the Colonel J. Parker won Harlem Heat in a card game and they're former prisoners.
Yeah,
that's legitimately the story of Harlem Heat. So I mean,
who the fuck was writing for that? Ole Anderson and fucking Cowboy Bill Watts? Jesus Christ!
Yes, actually, yes.
Oh my
Bill Watts time period. Very bad. So basketball
terrible.
Thing, not as bad as Harlem Heat, but no, they would not have done this with the Road Warriors and Harlem Heat in 95. Mostly because you got to make both those teams look good because they cared about their tag division and they also had the Steiner brothers and some other decent tag teams. And they did tag team wrestling matches and they knew the outsiders would be coming in eventually and they needed people to beat too. So it's almost like they booked a tag team division day, even though it was WCW.
At least we have AEW.
Yeah, with tag team wrestling, at least we have AEW. I would say New Japan, but they also have some tag division struggles right now just for lack of tag teams.
Yeah, New Japan's more like NXT where it's they have good tag teams. They just don't have as big of a division as they once had. Raw and SmackDown, they have good tag teams, but I don't even give a fuck. Like, my lord. And then they have like an abysmal. I don't know, man. It's amazing. It's like mopping a floor with a broom, you know?
I mean, like, people are like, well, why would Revival or Anderson and Gallows want to win? They're offering them a lot of money. It's like, because of this kind of shit, dude. Like, that's why.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna have a 2-minute match next week. Like, that's why. Like, especially with Anderson and Gallows, they went from being like one of the best tag teams in the entire world to like
And royalty over there.
like, to fucking being, AJ Styles lackeys and getting demolished by the Undertaker for a month before they got fired.
Hey, guys, just stay with me. It'll be fun. All right. Shayna Baszler. She defeated Natalya with just a knee strike. After the match, Natalya had a tantrum in the ring. All right, whatever. I guess this is advancing Shayna somewhat. Like I said, she was damn heelish. But yeah, don't know what they're doing with Natty. Never really know what they're doing with Natty. I mean, Natty's just really at this point, Chris. She's kind of in at the last end, trying to help out with some of the girls and try not to piss them off, but mother them, if you will, I guess, and have some last couple matches. Help train, I guess, be a first person to go against certain people. But I don't think the championship is going to happen anytime soon. Even though she won the belt not too long ago, I believe. It's like a year.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was kind of like her right off in the sunset moment, and she was pretty much just going to be booked as an enhancement personality that people know is a former champion and probably a future Hall of Famer. And when I was talking about like how fucked up it is that they do that to Natalya, I don't think Shayna came up with these lines, by the way.
No.
So I wasn't trying to put heat on Shayna, just to clarify for everyone listening. But like I said, either she's just completely fine with whatever they throw at her, but they've talked about her father after he passed away, and they've called her fat. They've said fucked up shit about Teddy Hart and his injury. Like, some of the stuff that they do to Natalya, they don't do to anyone else and take it that far, and it's really shitty. But it did make Shayna look like a heel. So, I mean, from that extent, it worked. I just like, they don't go as hard on anyone else. Natalya is like the new Mickey James, like where they were calling her Piggy James and shit and being real mean. But it's I don't know. I think they could dial it back a little bit and still get heel heat.
I agree. I definitely do. Well, speaking about heel heat, King Corbin was interviewed and said that next week he'll prove why they call him King. He's going to be going against Drew McIntyre. And also, like I said, the Iconics will be going against Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. I hope Drew McIntyre takes King Corbin's head off his fucking shoulders. And also, we kind of forgot to talk about that. So it's not called – what did Vince use last year for the reason why people can go, over on each program? The shake-up. The shake-up. Well,
the
guess what,
shake-up
guys?
is where they do the trade. They had some other name for it. God, what was it called? Where like they had like a random number, but then like tag teams only counted as one person. Is that the thing you're talking about?
Yeah. So basically, what me and Chris talked about a long time ago, with one going to Fox, one going to USA, they're gonna want fucking people from those shows to travel. They're not going to want to just have one roster. So now Vince once again has gone around it and is going to have these marquee matches, quote unquote, with certain people from the other products. I don't know if that includes NXT. If it does, maybe it could be cool, but just this seems stupid and proves that you probably don't need two fucking different brands. We can, put the titles down to one each and have one flowing program, but what the fuck do I know? But either way, it isn't a shake-up. I forgot what the hell it was called. What do you think about this dynamic and Drew going against Corbin next week?
I forgot what brand Corbin was on, because like the last time I cared about anything that he did was that Reigns match. So I'm assuming he was on SmackDown, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I don't know. I mean, it's a guy for Drew to beat, so that's good, I guess. I don't know why they want to put Corbin in high-profile matches constantly. They got to be something else for him to do, just for a little bit. I think just levity, putting him back in the main event on Raw, which he just came from with Rollins, does not necessarily entice me to want to watch Raw if this is going to be a multiple week thing. If it's just a one and done, then fine.
Put him in a tag team with someone. Ugh.
Or like give him like this is gonna sound crazy, but like turn him babyface. Like give this guy a reason to become a babyface or something. Like he doesn't look like a heel. Like he really to me he doesn't look like a heel. He kind of wrestles like a heel just by being an asshole all the time. But like I don't know. Do something different with him. Give him a tag partner, like you said. Give him a reason to be a babyface. Like find someone more dastardly than him that screws him over or something. Just give him something different because
Give him herpes.
The character itself is very stale, and seeing him at the top of the card with knowing that it's WWE, so that's probably their feud going into the next pay-per-view. Not something I'm super excited about with Drew McIntyre.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll find out. But it's going to be a shake-up. I don't know. Maybe it'll be cool. We had the last part. Edge came to the ring to talk. Randy Orton interrupted and congratulated Edge on defending him at WrestleMania. Began to walk out. I was like, okay, that's going to be it. And he came back, and I kind of appreciated that. I couldn't do it. Returned to the ring and said he's a better wrestler because it didn't take him 9 years to heal from WrestleMania injuries. Challenged Edge to a normal match at Backlash. Charlie Caruso said it could be the greatest wrestling match ever. Now, I really don't think that's going to happen. I wish they fucking did this at WrestleMania. Hey, by the way, hate to say this, all those segmented matches that we talked about, you throw in, like I said, and then, you know, I love Edge. I think Randy's a great wrestler, but after those comments especially, not only am I going to put, obviously, that fucking fight with Matt Hardy and them around the Jacksonville Stadium over that match, I'm going to put the fucking Money in the Bank match over it because at least it was somewhat entertaining and not boring. It didn't put me to sleep. Fucking don't try to fucking jolt my intelligence like I'm some fucking asshole because I didn't like this stupid match. You guys should have had a fucking match in the ring to begin with. All right, so I'm down for that. I'm down for their match. What do you think, Chris?
Like pretty much everyone commented that it was terrible, and then what they took out of that is that it was one of the best matches of all time. This is WWE. That's how they spin shit. I mean, I look forward to them having an actual wrestling match. They should have just had an actual wrestling match to begin with.
Yeah.
like no one has a problem with Edge or Randy Orton. I mean, I'm not the biggest Randy Orton fan in the world, but do I think that him and Edge could have a good wrestling match? Yeah, probably. If you put them in a ring and don't ask them to go for 30 minutes around a fucking building, just hitting each other with shit, like I'm pretty sure they could have a good in-ring wrestling match. So yes, I'm excited for these two guys to get to redeem themselves in probably like a 10-minute wrestling match. It'll probably be pretty good. If Edge looks anything like he did at Rumble, it'll be pretty good.
Understand. All right, and that was Raw. So let's talk about Raw. The Raw ratings. All right, so Raw actually was up a little bit. It was almost at 2 million. It was at 1.92 million people. That's what it averaged over the 3-hour time period. It was up from the record low audience of 1.69 million and was a step up from the week previous with 1.82 million. The weeks previous to that and previous to that were just a little bit higher than the 1.69 million. So it's had two pops basically in the last 5 weeks, but getting closer to millions, not a bad thing. I think that you're right. I think maybe hearing about Becky Lynch making an announcement jolted a lot of people to watch the rest of the show. But yeah, that's good, right? I would say. I mean, it's not over 2 million. But it's something, right? Right, Chris?
I think it's very good, and like I said, I don't know what these ratings actually mean right now. Because going to AEW and NXT, which I both thought were pretty good shows, they're down this week. So, I mean, obviously the Becky Lynch thing spiked people's interest to watch live, but I still have this feeling that because a lot of people are working from home or at home, that they're just watching this stuff the next day. So the DVR numbers are probably more important. So I just have a hard gauge of what these ratings mean, other than there was an obvious spike when Becky Lynch had the announcement about being pregnant, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I would assume. I don't know. You know, the concept is once they acquire any momentum, even if it's 1.92 million people, it's if they can keep on, pressing forward. Like we keep on saying, it doesn't matter if we're talking about AEW, NXT, Raw, SmackDown, who obviously have the superior ratings. People are home and they have nothing to do and they're choosing not to watch. I want to know, actually, I'm wondering how much of an audience FS1 got for re-airing WrestleMania 3 a couple nights ago. And I'd like to compare that. Maybe it was just a small percentage, but it would be fucking crazy if it actually did pretty well for, the third WrestleMania of all time. If it's on a smaller channel.
I was just going to say, if they got more than like 300,000 viewers, it'd probably be the number one show on that network, because they don't have sports right now. So like,
yeah, you got classic shit to watch. Yeah, definitely. And kind of like you were saying, but we got to remember, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris. Last night there was a free UFC fight that came about, right?
Yeah, with a sick knockout, and I can't think of the guy's name, but I saw the highlights this morning. This guy waxed this dude. So I'll send you that after the show. I don't have the notes in front of me. But yeah, there was a free show. Apparently UFC is actually doing really well during this. As far as since their re-air stuff. But that's kind of to be expected, because they're the only, let's just say they're kind of the only legitimate sport going in America right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's not me taking a shot at, wrestling versus, athletes or whatever.
Did you just call it fake fights?
No, I didn't. I'm just saying UFC is a sport. Wrestling is wrestling. Wrestling is always just wrestling to me. But yeah, I'll send you that knockout. It was crazy. I think that, like I said, it's a 3-hour fucking show. People probably break it out over their day and watch it throughout the week or something. Like, I don't know what these numbers mean.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, we're talking about AEW and USA, and both of them, their numbers were definitely down. AEW 654,000, and NXT with 604,000, but they were dealing with UFC having this spontaneous free fucking fight for everyone to watch. So I'm assuming that some of the viewership, especially the 18 to 49 demographic, probably would have been watching that too. So like you keep on saying, though, ratings themselves, it's a very different, time period. Even though people are home and they can watch stuff live, they have the option to stock up, so they have stuff to watch at the same time. So DVR, like we've been saying in the past too, with ratings, we need to start catering towards, viewership, ratings, DVR, like everything put together to actually get a correct number for all this.
Yeah, and
Dave Metzler needs to get the fuck on this.
He tries, but the DVR numbers are so hard. Like AEW does like 1 million viewers on DVR if you combine the numbers, or they have in the past. I don't know
what do they do on Fight too?
So that's then you get into like, what does WWE do on, was it Battle Network? Because